Welcome to Where There's a Wills, There's a Play. My name's Ian, and it's a new month, so it must be time for a new wall. Last month's wall was a lot of fun. We took a nice little trip to Japan, so let's get these off of the wall real quick and go into this month's theme and what games are going to be played this month. So, 2 years ago, Stacy and I bought our house. One of the things we did was redo our small den to make it more useful. One of the things I want to do was put up some floating shelves just to kind of showcase some board games every month. The first year we did that, 2 years ago in April, it was just some of my favorite games. So then I thought it'd be really kind of cool if every April, the start of the new year of the showcase wall, we had some guest pickers. Last year, I chose one of my friends from my hometown that I found on that I met through board gaming channels and realized that I graduated with her sister-in-laws, I think it is, and she graduated with my brother. And then so this year I am going to have a guest picker, and this year's guest picker is Paul from Dads and Dice. And welcome, Paul. I'm glad to have you here on the channel.
Hey Ian, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on here and get to pick some walls for you and Stacy to be playing this month.
Really excited for these games that are going on the wall. So why don't you for those of you that don't know, Paul and his friend Devin run a board game channel called Dads and Dice. Actually did a live stream of Rolling Realms with him a couple weeks ago now. A week ago? A couple
Mhm.
weeks ago?
Yeah,
A couple weeks
two
ago
weeks
now.
ago.
And so I was like, you know what? It's a good time. So we're going to bring Paul on. And he has some games here for us. And he's going to tell us why he chose these games. So why don't you give us the first game and tell us why you chose it?
Yeah, so I know that you generally have some type of theme going on with your wall. So I went slightly with a little bit of theme and then with just a couple thrown in there. But first off, we have Verdant or Verdant. I'm not sure exactly how you say it,
I think
but
it's
Verdant.
verdant because I think verdancy is the act of or whatever. So
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm not good at pronouncing it, but Verdant. So this one is a card drafting in the same vein as kind of like a Cascadia or a Calico, where you have some type of tile and then a card, and you're just going to be drafting them and putting them in your little tableau. This is a game that I've played a handful of times. Really enjoy it. Super cozy vibes, and it just looks great on the table.
it really does. I have played that one solo several times, including with the potless plants expansion. And so I'm excited. Hopefully, I get to teach that one to Stacy this month.
Yeah, that one should be a lot of fun. So I mentioned I have a little bit of a theme going on here, and then the next one is apiary. So maybe you can try to start puzzling this theme together. I'm really, I'm looking kind of more at the Earth or what the Earth might look like in the future. So with apiary, I actually have not played this one. But it is one of Stonemeyer games that I've actually really looked forward to getting to play. I've heard it's a terrific worker placement game, and the theme is just outstanding. Getting those bees and then getting them to outer space.
That is probably my number one Stonemeyer game. I've
Awesome.
played that one quite a bit. I actually appeared or I actually last year the Mill Stonemeyer's kind of sponsored channel,
Hmm.
YouTube channel was doing a bunch of ambassador spotlights of games, and so I joined on the Mill to talk about Apiary before the expansion
Okay.
came out. This was my number one game from 2 years ago, so 2023. I only play it solo. There's a lot going on for Stacey,
Yeah.
but that one is definitely one of my favorites, and this will give me an excuse to clear off the expansions from our from the shelf of opportunity because I've not had the expansion to the table yet, which just adds some more tiles and some more factions and some more starting mats and stuff. So I'm excited to play that one again this month.
Yeah, there was two games on this list that I knew would be solo games for you. At least two that I thought would be solo games for you, and I knew this one would be it. But staying with that little Earth kind of theme, or futuristic Earth, whatever it may be, we're going to go to Explorers of Navoria. And Explorers of Navoria is one that I just recently played. I streamed it on my channel a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. But in this game, you are explorers that are going out to explore these new lands that have just popped up out of the ocean. So this game has a really great set collection feel. It's got some worker placement in there. It's got some bag building, well, not bag building, but pulling out of the bag and placing it on these cards to draft. It seems like there's a lot going on in this game, but there's really not. This is a very simple one, especially without the expansion, one that I really do think that you and Stacy could get to the table, and then you could even solo it with the expansion in there. So it's a great one. I really do think that both of y'all would really like this game.
I'm excited to get this one. I passed on this one on crowdfunding, and then kind of regretted it later on because I heard how great it
Yeah.
was and stuff. I just wasn't sure, and then I've heard just such great things about it. As you can tell, ours is still in shrink, and the expansion is out in the living room. So I'm excited to get that one to the table and clear something else off the shelf of opportunity.
Yeah, I remember Stacy had mentioned that she wants to get into a little bit heavier games, and I think it was your New Year's video, your resolutions video. This one sits at about a 2.2, but really the game mechanics flow really well. The phases are laid out. You've got the nice little reference card, so I definitely think it's a good one to dip your toes in.
That always helps. Yeah, she one of her things, and one of mine as well, was to try something a little out of our comfort zone and maybe
Hmm.
some themes that we aren't normally drawn to. So yeah, excited to get that one to the table.
Should be a good one. Up next, we have Parks. Parks was one of my first games that I ever played. It was a game that my wife and I played for the longest time. Just, we'd have a Friday night at home and we just get Parks out. We absolutely loved looking at the cards, all the park cards, just passing each other on the trail. We've got the expansions. We actually have never played the expansions, just because we love this base game so much. I'm not sure if this is one that Stacy has played, but again, I think this is another one that's pretty easy to get to the table. And again, it's a whole cozy feel to this game, right? It's exploring the national parks around us.
Yes. No, we have played this one several times. We actually traded years ago. I haven't done a whole lot of trades on Board Game Geek, but we traded Pandemic Rising Tide, which just
Okay.
did not work for either of us, and I traded it for this, and this has hit the table way more than that game did. That was not a
Mm,
very good version of Pandemic. We didn't really understand what was going on or why we were doing what we were doing. And we traded for this, and then we have both expansions. We have played with both expansions. I like the Nightfall expansion. I might play
mhm.
that solo. And then the wildlife expansion adds a nice little mechanic. So this is one that definitely, this one probably is going to be one of our live streams because it is one that we both
Nice.
know pretty well. So we'll probably just live stream the base game of this. But
Very
all
awesome.
my
Yeah,
stuff is falling out of that, so I'm gonna have to adjust that when we're done here.
I've got the Nightfall expansion for it, but like I said, I know it adds like a camping spot where you can go in, and I
Yeah,
think it adds the fire a little bit different, right? Or maybe that's the second one
the Nightfall adds the campsites, which
where
give you
two
some other
people can be
things
on the
you can
thing.
do, which is a nice little addition. And add some other. I don't remember. We don't play with the expansions a whole lot, but it's nice to have
Yeah.
them. And now that they've got the second edition out and stuff, and
Hmm.
this first edition is um, not going to be available at all, having all of the first edition stuff is really kind of a nice bonus for the collection because someone may be looking for that someday, and might be able to get
Yeah,
some good
for
money for
sure.
that when at some point when we're ready to get ready for the collection.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so up next we have one that I think will be a solo one for you, and that's going to be Bot Factory. Bot Factory is actually a game that I have not played. It's one that I want to play. But the reason that it actually intrigued me in the first place is because this is by Vital Lacerda, who is a very, very heavy weight designer for these games. Um, Things that are slightly above my comfort level in playing games. It's right around Devin's level, and I'll play a few of them. But this one is a streamlined version of Kanban EV. Um, and so you are building robots to work at an auto factory. I'm assuming that's what Kanban EV is about. Um, and you have your person. What's the name? Is it Susan? Sandra?
Sandra.
Sandra, yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so they're the manager from Kanban originally, and
Yep.
they're in this one. So just the theme about it seems really cool. I don't know if you've actually played this one at the table. I know this one's probably on the higher end of the complexity that you enjoy for games.
No, I
Um,
I've played this one quite a bit. I actually backed
Perfect.
this one on Kickstarter. So
Awesome.
this
Awesome.
was a Kickstarter for me, and the beginning of last year it came in, or the beginning of the
Very
year
cool.
before, whatever year it was, and I played it quite a bit right away that month. And then I got caught in the trap of listening to what other people said about it,
Hmm.
and there was some negativity about it out there as far as, oh, it's not very good, it's too light. And
Yeah.
then at the end of whatever year it was, it actually was appearing on several, um like, there was some top 10 lists for the year and stuff, and I was like, okay, wait, I need to get this back out, because I think my brain went to all this people on, like, board game sites and stuff were just kind of
Yes.
like, yeah,
Yep.
it's okay, it's not great. But that's because
Yep.
they were probably comparing it to other stuff, which I will never play those heavy games.
Exactly.
I'm with you. I'm
Yep.
like, yeah, that's way above mine, and you're
Yeah.
a little bit above my, comfort zone.
It's
And yeah,
so
those things I'm just. But yeah, this is. I do enjoy this one. It is, yeah. You're building robots, and you're basically trying to make a certain number of robots. So I really like this
yeah.
one.
Very
Excited to
cool.
get to the table again.
Well, I will recommend to you. It's another Vital Lacerda game. It's a newer game that should release this year. It's House of Fado, um,
Yes,
and it is a streamlined version of, I believe, the Gallerist, or
I
at
think
least it
so. I
has
think
some of
so.
the. Yeah, it has at least some of the mechanics from the Gallerist, which is another one of his. It's probably, I'm going to say, his most popular game, or at least in the top three of his most popular ones. Um, so if you like the streamlined version of, with Bot Factory, this one might be up your alley as well. It's a little bit heavier in weight, but same kind of idea. He's taken one of his big popular games and streamlining it into a little bit lighter game.
I wonder if that's going to be like a thing for him now. Like, take
I could
some of
see
these
that for sure.
to give more people accessibility to them.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. But yeah, so that is the one there. After this, we have one that I have actually not played, but I have played a game in the universe. This is Maple Valley. So Maple Valley is just I think it's a worker placement game, but not a
It's a
dice
worker
placement game.
movement. You're actually
Okay.
moving your workers based on different cards, and the cards kind of tell you which paths you can move on.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah, this is one that I would like for you to live stream so that I could watch it being played.
I'm
Because Creature Comforts by Kids Table Board Gaming, I absolutely love that game. That game
it's
is so good. And this is kind of the predecessor to it in a way. Um,
it's
so
a spiritual successor. So and it's like little kids, and you're getting
yeah.
ready for a festival. So it takes place over the summer. So yeah, it is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is honestly, this probably will be the other one, because we've both played this. It's
Awesome.
either gonna be this, or if I teach Stacy Verdant. But it'll most likely be Maple Valley and Parks. And if you want to see us do this one, we can make sure this one is one of the
Yeah.
two that we do. So
That is one that I am interested in for sure. A lot of times when my wife's at work, I'll take my daughter to Barnes and Noble, and just because it's a nice indoor place, we'll read books and stuff like that. But then I can always go check out the board games also, and
right.
that's always one that's on the shelf that I'm just like, I should just pick this one up. I should just pick it up, and I never do. Um, but I would like to see it played. So,
And there's a third one coming.
is it? It's not layers because I know that's
No,
coming out for theirs also.
no, it's actually Creature Comforts River not River Valley, River something. I can't remember, but there's a third one in the Creature Comforts world
Interesting.
that is coming.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
River Market is what it's called.
River Market, that's right.
So that yeah,
I have seen that.
that is going to
Did
hit
that one go to
Kickstarter.
crowdfunding?
I'm sure it'll hit Kickstarter at some point this year. Layers is in the
Mhm.
not fulfilling yet, but
Okay.
Layers was their last one, so that's going to be their next one. I know that it was being shown off at like a couple recent conventions up in Canada and stuff. So I
Okay.
know that they had that showing that one off. But yeah, so Creature Comforts River Market is the next one in the line. So
Very cool. Yeah, I got it pulled up here on BGG. It looks like in the universe.
yeah,
They've really nailed that. All right, and then I've got my last one here, and that is World Wonders. So again, we're sticking with the Earth, right? We're visiting Maple Valley. We're doing the parks. We've got World Wonders. This game to me was such a surprise hit. There's tons of polyomino tile placement games out there, and the fact that this one, the production value of it, the way
yeah,
that it looked on the table, it just really blew me away. Just those just the miniatures, we'll call them, of all the different world wonders, you've got like the Easter Island heads, right? And you've got to put
yep,
them in specific places. You've got the Great Wall of China, that's two separate pieces that you have to put on there. Just everything about it was really great. It played very quickly, and then also just like the little tracks at the bottom, there was enough game in it that made it stand out. So I really like that one.
yeah. No, yeah. I had heard about it and I picked it up. After it was kind of all the hype, the early
Hmm.
hype and stuff, and it was on a lot of end of year. It was another one. It was on a lot of end of year top tens. And I kind of look into it. I love polyominoes. I love the puzzle.
Hmm.
It makes my brain work. In fact, I've got one on the table right now that I've been playing for the last couple days. And Yeah, no, I really like that. And like you said, those little buildings and the solo mode
Hmm.
in it is so good. Like
Yeah, I
I
agree.
love the whole mechanism where it's like, okay, I can keep taking stuff. I really want to get the monument,
Hmm.
and I want to spend as little as possible on the monument, but there's a chance that the solo player is going to take it, and they almost always do. And then you're
Yep.
like, oh, I should have taken it on that round. So I love that game. That is one of my. I did a five and dime last year at some point of tile laying games, and it was
Hmm.
five polyominoes and 10 non-polyominoes, so basically
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
squares and hexagons and stuff. And that was number three for me.
Yeah, it's a solid game.
Yep,
Like you had said,
right behind Isle of Cats and 10 Penny Parks.
yeah,
So
those are terrific also. But like you had said, I really like the mechanic of once you get a monument, that's it. That's
yeah,
all your money. So when I've played this game two players, when I play with Devin or when I play with my wife, we always try to push that to where you've got one or two coins left, right? I actually got this one played at, I think the highest player count's five, maybe six, possibly. I don't remember, but I got it played at that higher player count, and I realized, oh, these monuments are a lot tougher to get, and people are going to spend six or 5 or 6 bucks to get those monuments. So it
I
did
bet.
completely change up the game, from that two-player experience. So yeah, I agree with you. This is a terrific one, and one that I don't hear too much about. Have you picked up the expansion?
I have not. It has been sitting in my Amazon cart for quite some time now.
Yeah.
um,
So
and we'll see if I can get some gift card money through this thing
yeah.
we do at school. It may be picked up this month.
So
And
the great thing
hopefully,
about the expansion, and this is kind of something that I always talk about with Devin, is like for the expansion, if you love a game, you want more of the same. That's how I feel like an expansion should be. I feel like it shouldn't change up the game completely. And the World Wonders expansion just adds more. That's exactly what it does. It adds more of the monuments, it adds a couple other cards, and it just makes more World Wonders.
nice. Yeah, I definitely, that is one that I've been looking at for some time and probably will. I'm hoping I can teach that to Stacy.
Hmm.
I don't know, and we'll see if it's gonna be up her alley or if it's gonna be too much with how you have to
With all
place
the
things
yeah.
because you have to have this and this and this before you can
Hmm.
place the
Hmm.
monuments and stuff. But I think it's one she might enjoy. But yeah, All
Yeah,
right.
that is, all the games that I have on there, and like I said, I tried to kinda theme it a little bit, and we're gonna say, April, Earth Day, this is Earth now, and then hopefully not Earth in the future with a bunch of
Fingers
robots
crossed.
and yeah, and
Post apocalyptic Earth.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see you stream some of those and hear about your plays about them.
I'm excited for this wall. This is gonna be a really fun wall. Like I said, uh, we both really love parks. Apiary, my number one Stonemeyer game, has been since it came out.
Mhm.
Verdant, really nice, kind of cozy game. Stacy likes a lot of the other games in that line of games from Flat
Yeah.
Out and AG, so I think she's gonna like that one.
Mhm.
Explorers of Devoria, really excited to get that one to the table and play. I watched some of your playthrough of it, and I've
Mhm.
watched some other stuff, and I'm excited about that. Maple Valley, we both enjoyed. Bot Factory, I like. World Wonder, so this is gonna be a fun wall, and I like that it's just kind of more randomness than like when we do stuff,
Yeah.
but I really like it. So I
Yeah,
appreciate you
for
coming
sure.
on, Paul, and
I had
picking
a
some
blast
games for
looking
us
at
for
your
this
list.
month. So I will see you later.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right, everyone. Well, there you have it. There is the wall for April 2024. This is Paul from Dads and Dice is wall, and we'll be having some good fun gaming. Once again, this has been Where There's a Wills, There's a Play. My name's Ian. I'll see you next time at the table.